हेलो एंड वेलकम टू द स्पेशल ब्रॉडकास्ट। मैं हूं स्टेसी परेरा और आज हम बात करेंगे ईटीएफ्स या एक्सचेंज ट्रेडेड फंड्स के बारे में। ईटीएफ आजकल बहुत पॉपुलर इन्वेस्टमेंट टूल बन गया है, बट इट वाज एक्चुअली इंट्रोड्यूस्ड बैक इन द 1990s and since then has proven to be quite a durable and popular investment avenue for quite a few. Now today ETFs have expanded both in terms of the numbers as well as their focus over time and the kind of different ETFs that have come up. आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे why ETFs have become so popular for investors, इसके क्या benefits है और क्या challenges हो सकते हैं, and more importantly what should you be looking for when you're going to choose an ETF to add into your portfolio. Joining me now is Umeshkumar Daila. He's the head of ETF sales at Amirai Asset. Welcome, Umesh. And let's get this conversation started by first putting things into perspective. Indian ETF market ka size pretty much, where are we placed when we compare to the global ETF market? If you could just throw some light on that and help us understand where exactly India is positioned when it comes to the ETF market.
Yeah, Stacey, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I think, yeah, you started, what you said is right, that in India now, ETFs are taking center stage. We have seen lately a lot of flows are coming in ETFs, and investors are more and more getting, involved, attracted towards these products. So when it comes to numbers, for India, it is, we can say it can be a new phenomena but for a external world, globally, the ETFs are growing significantly, and it started way back. So if I talk about size of Indian market, so in USD, it is right now around $99 billion, which is roughly around 8.27 lakh crore around, with 232 ETFs are already there. As on 31st of October, I'm talking about this data. I'm quoting on the basis of MFI data. So as on October 31st. Now, if I talk about global data, so globally, the size of ETF, the passive ETF is around $14.4 trillion as on October 2024, with an inflows of in last 1 year. If I look at inflows globally, it is around 1.4 trillion alone in last 1 year. So it has been, and that's I'm talking about from a ETF GISO. So the globally phenomena, the numbers are pretty interesting, pretty strong. But if you look at India also, that has been doing pretty well, and I think from here onwards we can see the ETF business is overall is growing because more and more AMCs are also entering into this space in India.
Right. So quite interesting. Almost 232 is the number that you're saying of the different types that are there out, in terms of exchange traded funds. But also help us understand now, passive funds there are. What is the difference between a regular or normal mutual fund, and how is that different from a passive fund, which normally you see ETFs going into that compartment if you have to compartmentalize them? So what's the difference between a regular mutual fund and a passive fund then?
Gee, I think, see, first I'll start with this. There is a lot of debate that active, passive, मुझे एक्टिव करना चाहिए कि पैसिव में जाना चाहिए, म्यूचुअल फंड करना चाहिए कि ETF. देखिए, सब फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो देर इज नो कॉम्पिटिशन. If you ask me from my perspective, active and passive is something which is go hands on hand. Like it is like a combination. It cannot be versus. It is active plus passive because now passive products are way different than the active products in terms of few ideas, few you can say ideation and multiple things. When I still if I have to compare कि दोनों में फर्क क्या है कि normal mutual fund से passive कैसे अलग है, तो मैं तीन चार पॉइंट्स पे आई वुड लाइक टू एक्सप्लेन. फर्स्ट ऑफ आई विल टॉक अबाउट टाइप ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग. सो व्हेन आई से द टाइप ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग, इट इज बेसिकली व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट एक्टिव और नॉर्मल म्यूचुअल फंड, वहां पे क्या होता है, देयर इज अ फंड मैनेजर जो कॉल लेता है, एक्टिव कॉल लेता है, स्टॉक्स को सेलेक्ट करता है, एज पर रेगुलेशन उस पर्टिकुलर फंड को मैनेज करता है, जहां पे उसको थोड़ा लीवे होता है टू गो आउट ऑफ द इंडेक्स एंड टू बाय सम अदर stocks also which he or she believes are going to do well as per the strategy she or he has adopted. But passive में ऐसा नहीं होता because passive as a name suggests कि वहां कोई एक्टिवनेस नहीं होगी. तो पैसिव के लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है एक इंडेक्स का होना. सो एक्टिव में भी बेंचमार्क होता है, लेकिन यहाँ पे बेंचमार्क के बाहर जाके भी इन्वेस्ट होता है. लेकिन पैसिव में इंडेक्स होगा, और जो ईटीएफ उसके ऊपर जो इंडेक्स पे जो ईटीएफ बनेगा, उस ईटीएफ का ऑब्जेक्टिव रहेगा टू रेप्लिकेट द अंडरलाइंग इंडेक्स, नॉट टू आउट परफॉर्म। वहीं एक्टिव फंड का ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है टू आउट परफॉर्म द बेंचमार्क। यहाँ पे
Absolutely.
ऑब्जेक्टिव इज नॉट टू आउट परफॉर्म द बेंचमार्क। तो सबसे बड़ा एक फर्क तो ये होगा कि यहाँ पे आपको मार्केट का रिटर्न मिलता है जब आप पैसिव की बात करते हैं। जब एक्टिव की बात करते हैं तो आप थोड़ा सा मार्केट के बहुत चांसेस होते हैं कि आप मार्केट से आगे का रिटर्न भी आपको मिल सकता है। सेकंड जो फर्क होता है वो होता है एक्सपेंस रेशियो का। बिकॉज सिंस ये पैसिव, एक्टिव में क्या होता है, आपके पास फंड मैनेजर होता है जो कॉल लेता है, स्टॉक्स को बाय सेल करता है टाइमली, और ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है बेंचमार्क को बीट करना। पैसिव में क्योंकि एक इंडेक्स ऑलरेडी बना हुआ है, आपको सिर्फ उसको रेप्लिकेट करना है, तो उसके लिए आपको अमूमन एक फंड मैनेजर की जरूरत नहीं होती है। उसकी वजह से कॉस्ट में काफी डिफरेंस होता है। मतलब अगर आप एक्टिवली मैनेज एक लार्ज कैप फंड की बात करेंगे तो वो अमूमन आपको 1.75 से लेकर के 2.25 2.5 तक के एक्सपेंस रेशियो पे मिल सकता है। वहीं आपको एक निफ्टी 50 बेस्ड अगर आप ईटीएफ लेते हैं जो इंडिया की टॉप 50 कंपनीज में निवेश करता है, वो ईटीएफ आपको एज लो एज 4 पैसे से लेकर के अराउंड 5-10 पैसे के अंदर की रेंज में मिल जाता है। तो काफी बड़ा डिफरेंस है एक्सपेंस रेशियो में। और ये क्यों मैटर करता है, क्योंकि जितना लंबी अवधि के लिए, जितने लंबे टाइम पीरियड के लिए यू स्टे इन्वेस्टेड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर फंड, योर expense ratio start hitting your returns. So from a CAGR basis, that compoundingly it impacts your overall return. तो जब आपको पता है कि you have a product replicating on the same side, on the passive side, that also helps you in that. Now third is returns. जब हम रिटर्न की बात करते हैं, दो तरीके की चीज होती है। पहला होता है कि मुझे बेंचमार्क को बीट करना है, मार्केट को आउट परफॉर्म करना, मार्केट से ज्यादा रिटर्न कमाना है। वहां पे आपको एक्टिव स्ट्रेटजीज काफी अच्छा कर रही हैं, काफी अच्छी ऑलरेडी पॉकेट्स में अच्छे फंड्स हैं जो आपको करते हैं। एक होता है कि मुझे, बहुत बार लेटली हमने देखा है कि बहुत सारे फंड्स ऐसे हैं जो मार्केट का रिटर्न नहीं दे पाए। बेंचमार्क को बीट करने तो अलग बात हो गई, मार्केट का रिटर्न भी नहीं आ पाया, बिकॉज
नहीं आता।
एक्टिवली कॉल स्टॉक आपने चूज किया जो as per anticipation नहीं चला, then what you will do, you have to that impact will be there on your portfolio. So वहां पे जब आपको मार्केट का रिटर्न चाहिए होता है तो इंडेक्स और ईटीएफ्स प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल, कि आपको जैसे मार्केट का मूव होगा, जैसे निफ्टी 50 मूव होगा, वैसे आपको निफ्टी 50 का जो है मूवमेंट या जो मार्केट का जो रिटर्न है वो आपको आएगा। चौथा और लास्ट पॉइंट आई वुड लाइक टू हाईलाइट इज रिस्क। नाउ व्हेन आई से रिस्क इज टेकन इन आइसोलेशन, की वो रिस्क की बात कर रहे हैं। देखिए, किसी भी तरीके का आप इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो रिस्क इज ऑलवेज देयर, राइट? समवेयर इट इज मॉडरेट, समवेयर इट इज हायर, समवेयर इट इज लोअर। जब आप एक्टिव फंड में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो देयर इज you can say fund management call also, so we can call it
Yeah.
unsystematic risk call, where you have impact from fund managers call also, which can be positive also, it can be negative also. But in case of passive, because there is no risk involved, there is no, you can say unsystematic risk is there, because you straightforward replicating the index. तो बहुत हद तक आपका बायसनेस, स्टॉक को लेके बायसनेस, कंपनी को लेके बायसनेस जो जनरली होता है, वो यहाँ पे नहीं हुआ। इट will be purely based on the data or the factors which are placed in while creating that index. So ये कुछ मेजर चीजें हैं जिसके बेस पे हम बोल सकते हैं कि आपको एक डिफरेंशिएशन जो आपके पोर्टफोलियो में भी दिखता है, और आपके नॉर्मल इन्वेस्टमेंट के टाइम जब आप करेंगे और यू स्टे फॉर अ लॉन्गर पीरियड, बिकॉज ऑफ एक्सपेंस रेशियो, बिकॉज ऑफ मार्केट रिटर्न, ओवरऑल पोर्टफोलियो में काफी इम्पैक्ट है।
Right. So quite interesting. You can look at the expense ratio, you can look at the returns as well as the risk. Those are some of the factors that you should, you can see the difference between a passive fund or jo ek regular mutual fund ke, the difference between them. Let's also now understand if one needs to select an ETF, or, they have decided ki, theek hai, I'm going to look at ETF as an investment tool. Kin factors ko consider karna chahiye while investing in an ETF? If you could list those down. You just mentioned, like you said, the expense ratio is lower, you're not trying to outperform. But if you could just list out, yeah, ek check box agar hai, if somebody wants to select an ETF, how do they go about that?
ये किसी भी इन्वेस्ट को करने से पहले, जहां भी आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करें, सबसे पहला इंपॉर्टेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है कि आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, आपका गोल क्या है, आप किस गोल को लेके इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। अगर आप वो प्रोडक्ट जो भी आप इन ETF में या फॉर दैट मैटर किसी भी तरीके के प्रोडक्ट कैटेगरी में, चाहे एक्टिव में भी जाएंगे, अगर वो इन्वेस्टर के गोल से अचीव से मैच हो रहा है, बीट टाइमलाइन, बीट रिस्क एपेटाइट ना, तो वहां सबसे पहला पहला डिसीजन तो इन्वेस्टर को वो अपना गोल को ध्यान में रख के चूज करना चाहिए। दूसरा होता है, जब आपका गोल पता है अपना, तो आप ETF का, किसी भी ETF का, हर ETF का एक इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है। आप फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ऑब्जेक्टिव देखिए कि जो इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव, आप जिस ऑब्जेक्टिव के साथ इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं और उस ETF का जो ऑब्जेक्टिव है, इज इट मैचिंग और नॉट। इफ इट इज मैचिंग समवेयर, तो कहीं ना कहीं आप एक राइट टाइप के प्रोडक्ट में फॉर अ राइट अप्रोच यू आर एंटरिंग। तीसरा कारण होता है, तीसरी चीज होती है जो इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, विच इज रिस्क प्रोफाइल। बिकॉज हर इन्वेस्टर का एक रिस्क प्रोफाइल होता है, एवरी इन्वेस्टर हैज डिफरेंट रिस्क प्रोफाइल, कीपिंग देयर responsibilities in mind, keeping the kind of age they are into, what sort of income sources they have, what sort of
True.
expenses they have. So multiple things put together, it comes into at the end of the day कि कितना risk आप ले सकते हैं. So there are, when I talk about ETF, there are products which are very risky by nature. If you talk about themes, if you talk about any other sector products, but there are products which are lesser riskier as compared to sectors or themes. तो इन्वेस्टर को अपने रिस्क प्रोफाइल को ध्यान में रख के भी अपना, he or she should choose the right product. Third is, जो आपका है वो है आपका, एज ए सेट, प्रोडक्ट को, राइट प्रोडक्ट को चूज करने के बाद में आपको होता है बाइंग एंड सेलिंग ऑफ ETF एट अ राइट प्राइस। ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज क्या होता है कि जब भी आप किसी भी ETF में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, तो वो ETF इज बेसिकली बाय नेचर इज अ प्रोडक्ट व्हिच इज लाइव इन द मार्केट। यू कैन
Hmm.
बाय एंड सेल द वे यू बाय एंड सेल फॉर स्टॉक्स। सो उसका
Talks.
एक राइट प्राइस पता होना बहुत भी जरूरी होता है। तो इन्वेस्टर को ये भी ध्यान में रखना चाहिए कि व्हाट प्राइस ही इज बाइंग, नाउ हाउ टू डिफाइन दैट प्राइस। So उसके लिए, for every ETF, that respective AMC is having the INAV displayed on their on their website, which get refreshed in every 5 to 10 seconds. What investor has to do is, he or she has to just pick up that INAV from the website page, whichever ETF they want to buy, and then
Hmm.
simply put a limit order near to that INAV, because there will be some kind of spread also being, which will be charged, some kind of expenses also will be levied on that INAV. So some kind of near to the INAV price, if he or she is getting on exchange, means there are very high chances that they are getting somewhere right price they are getting. तीसरी, और before choosing that product which ETF to buy, एक और important चीज जो मैं मिस कर गया, is the tracking error.
Okay.
ट्रैकिंग एरर क्या होता है? ट्रैकिंग एरर इज बेसिकली द डिफरेंस बिटवीन ETF का रिटर्न और अंडरलाइंग इंडेक्स का रिटर्न। तो यहाँ पे एक बात आती है, अभी तो मैंने कहा था कि ETF का ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है अंडरलाइंग इंडेक्स को रेप्लिकेट करना, फिर ये ट्रैकिंग एरर कहाँ से? कई बार होता है ETF का एक एक्सपेंस भी होता है, उसकी वजह से भी
Hmm.
कई बार थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस आ जाता है रिटर्न्स में ETF के और इंडेक्स के। तो जिस ETF का ट्रैकिंग एरर ज्यादा है, ऑब्वियसली वो ETF उतना बेटर नहीं है। कम से कम ट्रैकिंग एरर मींस रिटर्न्स में डिफरेंस बिटवीन इंडेक्स और ETF में सबसे कम है। तो उस तरीके के प्रोडक्ट को भी चूज कर सकते हो। तो ये सब चूज करने के बाद में ऑलवेज पुट अ लिमिट ऑर्डर ऑन एक्सचेंज एंड लुक एट द INAV ऑफ ETF। और ऑल्सो एक चीज और ध्यान में रखें कि उस ETF में लिक्विडिटी कितनी है, बिकॉज लिक्विडिटी इज ऑल्सो वेरी
In
इंपॉर्टेंट
fact,
एस्पेक्ट।
I was just going to come to that question itself. That what is the idea of liquidity in an ETF? Now, हमेशा कहा जाता है that higher the trading volumes, narrower spreads, that indicates good liquidity, which is easier for one to either buy or sell that particular ETF, from their existing positions. पर इससे investment decision पे कितना impact हो सकता है, and how should one be tracking that and looking for a liquidity in an ETF?
See, liquidity is really very important aspect, because, as I said, ETF by nature is a live product. It is live. INAV price is there. Price is being quoted on exchange during market hours. So liquidity becomes very important, because liquidity is what? Liquidity is something which reflects that that particular fund or ETF is liquid enough so that any investor can buy and sell, and very high chances that investor will get the buyer and seller on the other side, so that his or her transaction will be executed well in time at a right price. So that liquidity is defined by market makers. So liquidity somewhere, it gives you freedom to buy and sell. It gives you freedom to buy and sell that ETF at a right price nearing to the INAV. It gives you freedom to execute higher volumes also. If you want to execute, like market went down say significantly, and you want to buy a certain ETF with a higher quantum, and if the
Hmm.
ETF is very liquid, then obviously you will get the desired quantum at a right price. Now, how to define that liquidity? So liquidity is can be defined with three things. One is, which is a thumb rule, that any product, any ETF which is trading is happening very highly, and the order book is very good, it means the ETF is highly liquid. So that is a thumb rule, and that's also right in many places. But in sometimes we have seen that the ETF has good market, good book, you can say order book. They buy and sell both sides. The ample quantity is there, but because of some reason, the trades are very less. So it doesn't, if trades are less and market book, order book is filled, it doesn't mean that the liquidity is not there. हो सकता है
Yes.
कि ट्रेड नहीं हो रहा है। तो वो एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है। सबसे पहले मेरे ख्याल से आपको ऑर्डर बुक चेक करनी चाहिए, और उसके अलावा अगर आप थोड़ा डिटेल में और जा सके तो यू शुड लुक एट द मार्केट मेकर, if that
Hmm.
particular ETF has enough market makers or not, और वो मार्केट मेकर्स कितना एफिशिएंटली लिक्विडिटी कर रहे हैं, वो आप ट्रेडिंग हिस्ट्री में जाके भी देख सकते हैं कि इस ETF का रोज का कितना ट्रेड होता है। तो ये तीन चार चीजें होती
Right.
हैं जो आपको ध्यान में रख सकते हैं, और ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, बिकॉज when you buy at that time also, and when you sell at that time also. So I think highly liquid ETFs are really important for any decision making. if अगर आपको कोई पर्टिकुलर ETF खरीदना और वहाँ लिक्विडिटी नहीं है, तो बहुत हाई चांसेस है कि समझदार इन्वेस्टर विल नॉट बाय दैट।
Not buy it. Yeah.
So it
Right.
might
So
impact
that.
your decision. Yeah.
Yeah, so that gives us how you can actually, look at ETF. So, look at the liquidity, look at the order books. All of those are factors that one needs to keep in mind, especially when you're going ahead and making that investment decision when it comes to ETFs. Now, also, Umesh, help us understand which are the most popular, we could say, or, the highest tractions that you're seeing among the ETF basket in today's day and time. Which ones are the most popular, and do you think, and what is the reason for their popularity as well?
Yeah. See, actually, see, if you look at in India, especially because the ETF, again, as I said, it's still, I would say, it's at a nascent stage. Though we are at 8 lakh 27,000 crores of AUM, but still, there is a lot more to happen. But right now, if you look at, lately, in last 1 year also, if I look at the Nifty 50 or Sensex ETFs are key ETF where we got the maximum traction. Like Nifty 50 got around 59,000 crore flows, Sensex got around 17,000 crore flows. But similarly, gold and silver also got around 4,000 crore flows. I'm talking about MP data and ACE MF data. So somewhere the traction is happening in these key, these are plain vanilla products, no brainer. But apart from that, also, if you look at the trading volumes, because trading volume is another way of saying that actually is there a traction or not. So trading
Mm.
volumes have also grown
Yep.
significantly in last 1 year. If I look at the average daily trading volume as on say October end is around 1,400 crore average daily trading in last 1 year. So the number has grown significantly in that piece also. Now, third thing is the investor count. The investor count is really important for any in investment in ETF. As we speak, as per MF data, we have already crossed 2 crore investors, retail investors in
Mm.
ETF. So across numbers, across trend, the trends are shaping up, and I think traction is primarily starting with plain vanilla ETFs, and I think going ahead, it will move further for other unique ideas also.
Right. So you're saying that the plain vanilla or your Sensex Nifty or the bigger index ones are the ones that are seeing the highest traction, or is that because people do not have so much idea about the other ones that exist? And give us some examples of what are the different other kind of ETFs that are there. Of course, there is for gold and silver commodities, are highly popular as well. But any other newer ones that are coming into the market that you could throw light on?
So, if I talk about Indian market, as I said, whenever we start, you would like to start with the base product, and that's where these Nifty 50, Sensex, gold, silver are coming into picture,
Hmm.
mid cap also. But now, lately, we have seen last 2 3 years, the smart beta strategies has played out very well, where investors are moving up from plain vanilla products to smart beta strategy like alpha, momentum, quality, low wall. These kind of factors are also shaping up well, and the AUM has also grown significantly. In 2020, the AUM was around close to 200, 250 crores. Right now, it is, if I'm not wrong, it is around 35,800 crore as on October end. So data has grown, number of investors has grown. Apart from this, there are many themes, ideas, new products are coming up. Like now, like there is a product which is coming on IPO, so that will be investing into companies which are coming with new IPOs in India. So Mira Asset is launching that product where we'll be covering the IPO related products, stocks with a
Okay.
new IPO. We are launching a product on a new age consumption, where because we have seen that consumption style patterns are changing.
Right.
The older investors before COVID, the kind of consumption which was different, now the consumption has changed significantly. So we want to capture that space. So we are launching a product which will be new age consumption. So investor will be investing into those companies which are going to get benefit out of the new pattern of consumption, which is now shaping up well in investor. इसके अलावा there is a manufacturing ETF. There are products on say EV also is there, which is electric vehicle. So
Okay.
new
Very
themes
good.
are popping up, and interestingly, investors are also showing a lot and lot interest in these kind of products where new themes are coming up. So starting with Nifty 50, Sensex, Gold, Silver, now investors are graduating to new themes, smart beta, new ideas, or a little bit maybe higher risk reward kind of products.
Right. So these new themes could be higher risk, but there are the emerging trends, or at least people are willing to take those risks because you're looking at like how you're talking about just an IP or thematic funds for that matter when it comes to even ETFs. Are there any different kind of trends that are picking up in the global ETF markets as compared to the Indian markets? Is there a lot of crypto and others that are making more rounds in the global markets? And if you could speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, globally investors are way ahead than Indian investors. They have higher risk appetite. They are okay taking a risk of going with crypto. So globally, other than crypto, I must say the active ETFs are taking the center stage. That is, I think
Yeah.
countries like USA, Korea, and Japan, everywhere the active in ETFs are also getting launched. Inverse, and these kind of ETFs are also getting launched. So in ETFs also the global market is again, as I said, way ahead from India. So there are multiple ideas which are yet to launch in India, but globally they are being launched, like your uranium, copper, these kind of commodities which are, you can say, premium commodities. These kind of products are also there. So globally it is shaping up obviously way ahead, but I'm pretty confident that the way India is moving, I think very soon we should also be catching up with that kind of those kind of ideas, provided we get a go ahead from the regulator.
Right. Umesh, if you'd want to just summarize all that we've covered, about how one should go about picking an ETF and what are the, check marks they need to keep in mind, as well as the risks involved. If you could just sum that up of somebody who's looking to invest in an ETF, how could this really be beneficial for them? How are they going to, this information going to help them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say if I have to summarize it, one is investors should always keep their goal in mind. If goal is defined and they know कि उनको किस objective के साथ invest करना है, if that objective is meeting the fund's objective is also meeting with their objective, they should look at the tracking of the fund. फंड में ऑर्डर बुक कितना है, फंड का ETF का मार्केट मेकर कितना स्ट्रांग है, एंड एएमसी के बाकी प्रोडक्ट्स का एक्सपोजर किस तरीके से, हाउ दे आर मैनेजिंग रेस्ट ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट्स. सो बिकॉज अगर आपको ये चार पांच चीजें इफ यू हैव इन माइंड, एंड ऑलवेज कीप इन माइंड, whatever happens, always put a limit order, because don't put a market order, because in putting a market order there are high chances that you might get hit by a wrong price. So if you keep these four five things in mind, I think investor can get a good product at a right price. Like in our case, in case of Mire Asset, we have ample liquidity across all our ETFs, and we kept that thing in mind. That's why we maintain liquidity. You touch any of our product, you will get decent liquidity across the time period, even in the bad time. So investors should keep those things in mind. I think with times others might also provide. So liquidity, these objective and fund and the theme, because it's not necessary that one theme is good for me will be good for you. You have to always keep your risk appetite also in mind.
Right. Well, that brings us to the end of this informative session. Thanks so much to Umeshkumar Daila. He's the head of ETF sales at Mirai Asset. He's helped us understand what exactly are ETFs, so exchange traded funds. How are they similar to mutual funds but still have their differences? और अगर ETFs को लेकर आपको कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो या कोई डाउट्स हो, then please let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to address them in our subsequent shows at least. Let me give a chance to Mr. Dela to thank him for helping us, get a sense of what exactly ETFs are.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Well, that's right. With that, it's a wrap. But thanks so much to all our viewers who've tuned in. And like I said, if you have any queries related to ETFs, comment below and we'll try and address them. And of course, go on to 5paisa.com if you are interested in investing in an ETF. That's where you're gonna find some answers. Stay tuned for more such informative videos.
Investments in the securities market are subject to market risk. Read all related documents carefully before investing.